Cyrus
and Amanda,
and welcome to the Gowns and Crowns podcast. Today we're going to take a look at pageants that provide young women with the opportunity to not only showcase their interview skills, their beauty and poise on stage, but it also gives them the opportunity to showcase a talent.
Yes.
I know when Amanda first came along in pageants in high school, and you dabbled a little bit in the America system.
Yes.
You were a dancer. So tell people a little bit just about your dance career.
So I danced for 12 years and absolutely loved it. I loved being on the stage. Surprise, surprise. But I loved all the costumes. I loved the fanfare of everything. And that's actually what encouraged me to do my high school pageant. Was they offered a talent. You had to do a talent to compete. So I did a dance, and I had an amazing instructor who taught me a great dance, so I was able to feel comfortable in that category.
So talent is something that a lot of girls have, but aside from dance competitions or and girls who sing voice competitions or musical instrument competitions that they do within their, I guess, genre of talent, there really isn't an opportunity to showcase that unless you go on to become a performer.
Right.
But talents do give you that, pageants do give you that opportunity to showcase your talent. And I love a pageant, personally, that gives you the opportunity to do that. But what we want to talk about today is when you're professionally trained to do something and you do those competitions are very different than the type of talent you might want to select for your pageant. So what we want to do is give a few guidelines today on when you're looking for the perfect talent for your pageant, that you're on the right track to being able to, one, showcase your talent, but also entertain an audience of people who may not be qualified to judge what you're doing.
Right. So kind of going back to how we started with my talent, I was lucky enough that I had an amazing dance studio who had my best interests at heart with picking my talent. So back then that was pretty much the case, but nowadays I feel like there's some people who aren't exactly qualified to pick a talent for one of the contestants, and that's where we hit that roadblock where the girl gets up on stage and it's just not jiving, or she feels uncomfortable with it. So I think it's really important that you find someone who is qualified to pick the right talent for you, and not be afraid to speak up if a director or someone that you're working with says, I think you should do this talent, and you feel it in your gut that you shouldn't. Don't be afraid to say, that's not right for me. You can keep going and find the right thing for you. It's just a matter of speaking up about that.
I'll be the one to go ahead and say it. So we have girls that come to us and they're super talented, and they have these amazing coaches that help them with their talent. And then they put their talent together and they go and they win a preliminary, and then they win state. And then they win talent at state. And then all of a sudden the committee for the pageant's like, we really think you need to do a different dance.
Okay, well, first, don't fix it, please.
First of all, we appreciate all of our state and national directors.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, you should never ask a girl to change a dance or change a song or change something that they do well just for the sake of changing it, to say, oh, we changed it. Right. No, you should give that girl the opportunity to go to that next level, being the best at her talent she can be.
And if it's something that she's performed several times and several panels of judges have said, this is great, stick with it. It's like wearing the same evening gown for several different pageants. If it works for you and you win evening gown, or even if you win the pageant, you're going to stick with it. It's the same thing with your talent.
You know, I love when girls want to show me their talent. I love when they'll sing for me or dance for me or do whatever it is they do. I love it. I love when they do that in class. But I tell them right off the bat, I'm great at showmanship. Can't teach you how to sing. Can't teach you how to dance.
We can find somebody who can, though.
Yeah, we can. I can teach you how to play the trumpet. But, you know, there's not a whole lot that I can give you as far as training. All I can tell you is from an untrained eye. I can tell you whether you hit that note. I can tell you whether you entertained me. I know one time I told a girl in class, I said, she wanted to show me her dance. And I said, okay, well, just know that I'm not a dance teacher.
Right.
So anyway, she did her whole little dance and everything, and she was done, and she landed in a split in the middle of the floor with her arms in the air, and she was looking at me in the mirror, and I was looking at her, and I said, are you supposed to put your hand down in an aerial? And she goes, oh, you're a dance teacher now? I said,
The monsters you create will come back to haunt you.
So she said, I just put my hand down in here because I was uncomfortable with this. I said, don't be giving me excuses. I was just asking. But anyway, you have lots of different types of talent. You have dance, you have vocal performance, you have instrument. Then you have what I call the variety show.
Right.
Like I've seen girls do karate,
Self-defense.
demonstrations,
I've seen a girl do a science experiment.
well, girl in Miss America doing a science experiment. Ventriloquism, that's a true talent, but that kind of falls in variety show
Right.
for me. I don't think it's one of your big three that people think.
Right.
And then I know some pageants now have tried to be inclusive. They're a talent pageant, but they want girls to feel included, so they give them the opportunity to do
it.
like a spoken word or
Right.
read a poem or something like that. I'm personally not as crazy about that. I mean, we've had girls win national pageants doing that. I think it's great that you give girls the opportunity
Absolutely.
to do that. But I think if I'm judging, I think there's a bigger skill level at learning to play the violin than there is to memorize a poem.
And that was one thing, or something that a lot of the clients ask me. All of these wide varieties of pageants who offer the talent, how is my talent going to stack up? If you've got someone who's doing spoken word or a science experiment, how do you compare that to someone who is dancing and playing an instrument?
Or who's a vocal performer.
Right. And that's where you just say, you know what, you've got to go in there and do your ultimate best and prepare. And then the rest of it's out of your hands. You've just got to go and do what you feel is the best for you.
Like I said, I'm not opposed to a poem or telling a story or something like that. It's just not my personal favorite.
Right.
I like back in the day before this became a thing. I liked when girls did monologues. Remember when you were actually in the America system because you were going to go to school for acting.
Right.
They encouraged you to do a monologue and not dance, and we were working toward that. You just got sidetracked on another system.
Yes.
But that's where you were headed. And even though they asked you to change your talent from dance to monologue, they weren't asking you to change to a talent you couldn't do.
Right.
You were already training to be an actress. So it was logical that it all made sense. My
Right.
career goal is to be an actress. I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It wasn't like you're a dancer and you were going to be a school teacher and all of a sudden you wanted to do a monologue.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It made sense.
It all made sense. I do think when girls have a variety talent, I think it is a risk. And when they
Right.
say, how do I stack up? You can't worry about that. You just have to say, this is what I'm best at, and I'm just going to have to showcase it to the best of my ability.
Right.
And I've seen some girls give some great poems. And what is it Miss America has now? It's called Her Story. I think it's called Her Story.
Okay.
Or something where you have the opportunity to tell a minute and a half story on something. And I've seen some girls kind of do that effectively. And it does give girls who don't have a trained talent the opportunity to participate in the system. I just lean more on the more traditional talents. So when it comes to a talent, especially dancers and singers, and I guess the musical instrument, I've noticed when they go to competitions, what they do at a competition isn't necessarily the best thing for a pageant
Right.
talent. It's like the songs are songs, like the dancers. I've seen girls do dances where they've dropped out the questionable lyrics, but everybody still knows what the words are.
Right. So
The
there's kind of
costume-
that you're bracing for.
Yeah, your costumes are a little more scandalous at a dance competition.
Right.
Those are two things that I would say don't do at a pageant. Pick a song where you don't have to drop out lyrics. I would prefer you wear a whole costume. Especially if you're going to be televised, we would like you to be in a whole costume.
Absolutely.
Singing is the same. Singing is the same thing. Singing is tricky. You know, I was in radio for 20 years, so I've heard a lot of people sing. I think a lot of times people try to pick a song for a girl based on what they look like, not what they sound like. Does that make sense? I mean, if you can sing Whitney Houston, you do not have to look like Whitney Houston
To sing that.
Whitney
Absolutely.
Houston. But then you get a lot of girls that come through that look like Whitney Houston that are like, oh, you should sing Whitney Houston. And they can't.
Right.
Okay, it's great that you look like Whitney Houston, but you need to sing the song you can sing.
This is where you have to get reputable help. And
Right.
I've found a lot of the girls that I've worked with who have done talent have told me that word of mouth is one of the best things because they have friends or someone who they've seen perform before who's done a fantastic job. So do you have any recommendations as far as girls who are looking for the right talent?
Oh, to find, like if they don't have a talent or to find the right talent with
I guess
what they-
both.
Well, that would be us.
Well, yes.
Listen, I can tell you whether I
Shameless
like
plug.
it. Well, yes. Well, listen, after doing this for 30 years, I've had to sit through a lot of talent competitions. And it isn't me saying, oh, this is what Cyrus likes, but I can tell you over a period of time what has worked.
And what has held
What
up.
is held up.
Right.
I think whether you do tap, jazz, lyrical, I think people like traditional songs they know. If you're dancing, I think judges. Now, if you're lucky enough to get somebody qualified in your field, then you're lucky because they're going to know that the skill level is there. But I think you're trying to accomplish 2 goals in a minute and a half to 2 minutes. You're trying to show a skill set. You're trying to impress the judges, but you're also trying to entertain an audience of people. Because I can tell you, I've seen some okay dancers get up on stage and show out and get the audience behind them.
Got the showmanship.
And then
Absolutely.
they beat the girl who was the most skill level on the stage. Does that make sense? I've also, I still go back. Please don't sing a song you can't sing.
If you feel any sort of risk involved, please, there are plenty of options out there.
If you can't sing opera, please do not sing Think of Me from Phantom of the Opera because I will not be thinking of you. I will be thinking, when's the next talent going to come out? Like I said, even if you're just I don't want to say basic, but even if you're just a basic level singer, get someone to pick the best song for your voice. It amazes me though, you'll have a girl and they'll come to class and they'll go, oh, I ran into so-and-so and they said they've been doing talent with pageants forever and these are the 3 songs they think I should sing. Okay, you can't sing any of those. I said, did you actually sing for them? And they were like, no, they just said these are the most popular songs in pageants. That's another mistake.
Right.
Also, doesn't matter whether someone thinks it is popular. Can you sing it? Popular is another thing also. I always tell girls, shy away from anything that is too contemporary.
Sure.
Because if you sing Ariana Grande, if you sing Taylor Swift, then you better be able to sing like them because those are girls that are currently on the radio that we listen to day in
And it's
and
hard
day
not
out.
to.
Yeah.
Right.
Dance. We're talking about girls being able to sing a song and hit a note. Dance is the same way. If you can't do an aerial, and for those of you who don't know, that's a cartwheel without
Using
your hands.
Arms.
If you can't do that, please don't try that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if you're kind of on the fence with it, you've almost got it, and you're hoping you're going to land it for that talent. No, please don't.
You're going to score higher doing the tricks that you can do than attempting to do it.
Because they're going to
into
look
it.
that much better because you feel that much more comfortable.
And then
with
let's
them.
talk about girls who play instruments. I was in the band when I was in high school. I was in the concert band and all of that.
Violin.
I love.
Played by ear, though. I never read it.
You played the violin?
You didn't know that?
I never saw you with a violin.
That was before I met you.
Yeah.
This was in middle school.
I mean, I've seen you with a violin in real life. Yeah.
Where do you think I got it from?
But no, I learned something. Like when Corey was on the other day, I had no idea of something that he had done, and I was married to him for 10 years. And I've known you for almost 25. I had or 30. I've known you for almost
Yeah,
30.
I know.
I had no idea you ever played the violin.
Well, it stopped after.
But it all comes back to please be able to play
Yes.
that instrument. And when I say be able to play it, I don't think your parents are always the best judge of can you play it, dance it, or sing it.
You might be a little bit biased.
Yes, because I've had girls come in and they're like, oh, baby girl, can't wait for you to hear baby girl play her instrument, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl. Baby girl can't play a note. And then we got to listen to baby girl for a minute and a half.
And it's terrible.
And it's terrible. So you need to take baby girl to somebody that can tell you whether baby girl actually should be up on stage
Or
doing
not.
that.
Or maybe there's another instrument or another talent that baby girl can go try out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
You know, I also tell girls too, we have girls, you know, we talk about girls having one talent. You might be that girl that is the triple threat. You can act, dance, sing, juggle wet cats, stand on your head, you know what, drink water, and I don't know, say your alphabet. But I think if your talent is a minute and a half, I've always felt like pick the one talent you do best
For that
and showcase that one talent. In a minute and a half, I think it's kind of hard to try to start showing more than one talent. You're not going to really be good.
You want to leave them wanting more and be impressed and memorable with that. So yes.
Well, it's like when I ask girls, they'll say, "Oh, I do tap, jazz, I do tap, jazz, ballet. I do lyrical. I do tap. I do this. I do that." My question to them is, "Which one do you do?" I'm not asking which one you like, because it's really funny. The dance that most girls do best isn't their favorite, usually.
But that might be for good.
But if you're a fantastic tap dancer, please don't do an average lyrical.
Right.
Get up there and be the best tap dancer you can be on that stage. And now you've got a lot, when we were talking about variety show talent, is it acro? And that's where gymnasts who really aren't dancers, but they go to a dance choreographer to help them put all of their tricks into, so it's called acro dance, but it's a trick dance. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. But back to instruments, you know, you have to pick something. Well, first of all, you have to be able to play it. Like we had a girl that went all the way Miss America. She could only play one piece on the piano, but she could play the hell out of it. Nobody knew. Nobody ever said, could she play anything else? As long as you can play that one, didn't matter. But she could play the heck out of that one piece, and she did it all the way to Miss America.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, I do too. I think that's great. But you know, if you are a classical pianist, that should come out in your interview. But when you get up on stage, that's where you showcase the one piece that you can
really do know and you feel comfortable
that
with.
you can do the best. When it comes to ventriloquism and the karate, those are things that I think are super, super specialized. I mean, you've learned a talent that is very unique
Absolutely.
to you, but it's kind of like, I have a girl, she's working on the whole karate routine, but I told her, if you're an opera singer and you sing Think of Me, and those have heard it in Phantom of the Opera, it's a beautiful song, and at the end, it has a run that goes all the way to the highest note.
Right.
You can sing for 2 minutes, but that song is only as good as you be able to hit that last note. Doesn't matter how great it was. If you can't hit that last note, that's all the judges remember. So I told her, I really want you to do this. But your whole routine is only going to be as good as, can you break that board at the end?
And are you going to feel confident enough and comfortable enough?
Well, the good news is she that's the one thing she's more confident in anything else.
Oh, perfect.
Yep. I said, well, good. We'll break boards all over stage, and we'll do it. So she went to a little choreographer. They worked out a dance costume that kind of symbolized a karate outfit, but she was able to move around in it. It had its dance moves. She did all her karate stuff, and they did it to kung fu fighting, which I thought was fun.
It's classic.
Yeah, and they made it enjoyable, and they also made it easy for the audience to like and understand.
That's going to get them engaged, and if they're getting engaged, of course, I would think the judges would be engaged with that too.
I also think back to, because I don't want it to sound like I don't like girls who do spoken word or stories or poems, but it all goes back to what we're talking about. If we're going to expect a singer to pick a really good song that they can sing that could entertain the audience, just know when you're picking your subject matter to talk about, is it something that you can get a group of people to agree you're smart about?
Right.
You know, you don't want it to look like you're reciting something and people go, well, this girl has no idea what she's reciting it.
But there's no meaning behind it.
Or emotion.
There's no connection. Because you're going to be able to tell if there's a connection with it.
I also think that what has been great, that I'm glad that we still do talent in pageants, is I think the rise of shows like America's Got Talent, The Voice, American Idol, So You Think You Can Dance, Dancing with the Stars. I think it's made America love talent.
Yes.
So I really think that it's made people interested again in pageants that
have talent.
that provide that, because it really
Absolutely.
is kind of like reality show. It really is like reality show talent.
It is.
Because you're
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yes, and it is a live, and it usually is a live. It usually is a live performance. Not to offend anybody, what do you prefer? I know you were a dancer, but if you're a judge watching, what do you enjoy seeing on stage?
I love seeing the unique talents that come up. I mean, of course, everybody who puts themselves out there and does it got major love for them, and I will watch them and support them. But those unique ones really seem to get me, because I feel like that girl's taking that risk and she really went out and tried it, and especially if they've done really well with it.
I think mine is ultimately singing, but that's just because I was in radio for so long.
Right.
And when you meet someone whose voice is a gifted instrument, and they can just deliver that performance.
Absolutely.
So, the other thing is too, you have to the two things we'll end with where talent is concerned is I wanted to hit on time constraints.
Right.
Most talents now have been whittled down from 3 minutes to 2 minutes to now I think it's a minute and a half. I really wish it would go back to 2 minutes, but it's a minute and a half. You really have to find that song, that dance, that speech, that monologue, whatever it is you're going to do. Speed painting is one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're speed painting. We've seen girls do speed painting. You've got to make sure that you can convey that message in a minute and a half, and that it leaves the judges wanting more,
Right.
doesn't leave the judges going,
What did I just see?
I don't know what I just looked at.
Right.
So you've got that. And then we're actually going to talk about, I do want to hit on it because it's important, but we're actually going to do another podcast on wardrobe where we'll talk about talent costumes. But I think just as an ending note, make sure that what you're wearing goes along
With what you're performing or doing for your talent.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think if you're doing an opera that you have to dress like the character in the opera, but you also still want it to have the prestige of
That
what you're
feel.
doing. Yeah. You also want to have a costume that you can get 4 people to agree that costume belongs in this pageant. So,
And with that talent. For sure.
all right. Well, I was a musical instrument player. You were a dancer.
And
We
a
all want-
violin player by ear.
But
Played by ear.
there's no video proof of that. Until I see proof of that, I choose not to believe that. But anyway, this is Cyrus.
And Amanda.
And remember,
It's a world of beauty and a universe of possibilities.
good luck in your talent.
Or break a leg.